Well, good morning. How are we? It is good to be home with all of you. I have been out, as you're going to hear, about some of the projects that we do today, and I was talking the other night with some guys, and when I've lived away from my home for a couple of decades, and don't really have a healthy family that I grew up in, and so you find that family isn't necessarily blood, but it's the people that you do life with. It's the people that God bring and put in your path, and Foothills is definitely my family. And so it is such a heartfelt thing to come home after being gone for so long and to be with you and to worship with you and to sit there and to hear your voices praising God. And I am so grateful to be in a community of believers who love Jesus, want to serve Jesus, and make him known to others. So it's good to be home with all of you this morning. And that's what I want to share about. I want to talk about our mission projects that we did. If you're unaware, we're a part of the Christian and Missionary Alliance. Our middle name is literally missionary. It is what we do. We are, as the Foothills family and the Christian Missionary Alliance, an Acts 1:8 family. That means that we are people who are empowered by the Holy Spirit, according to Acts 1:8, and that we are witnesses, people who testify about what Jesus has done in our lives to the ends of the earth, whether it's Placerville or El Dorado Hills or Hawaii or Croatia or Salt Lake City or Spain. That is who we are. That is how God has decided to use us in his world and in his creation. So I want to share a little bit about how we do missions first, so that you kind of have an idea as to what we're doing. There's a couple different philosophies on missions. Our philosophy here at Foothills is highly, highly relational. So there are those who will go and build a house, and you'll get tangible results right then and there, and that can feel fantastic because you can see the results of what you've done. But then there's the philosophy that the Christian Missionary Alliance has, that Foothills has, and that is we are relational senders, meaning we go out to invest in the lives of other people in other communities. We share the gospel, and we share ourselves. That is who we are. That is what we do. And so this morning, I want to share how we've done that in various places around the world. And the reason I want to do that is a lot of you have participated. So we often think that there are those who go, but it's not just those who go. If you encouraged, if you prayed, if you financially gave, if you followed up with and invested in the people who are going, then you are also participants in the mission of God. And so when Paul, for instance, comes back and he's talking to others about his ministry in 1 Thessalonians, and he says, because we loved so much, so because of our love for those that we served, we were delighted. We found joy in sharing with you not only the gospel, but our lives. And that is what we did from June till recently in various places in the world. We don't simply send resources. We don't just write cards or send off a tweet or a text message. We show up. We show up into the lives of people. We listen to their stories. We cry with them. We struggle with them. We celebrate with them. We don't just share the gospel. We share our lives. The same way that Jesus stepped off of his throne and in the incarnation, that is in his coming to earth, he shared not only the truth, the gospel, but he shared our lives. And that is what we do as the Foothills family. And so even though relationships might be harder to measure, even though a conversation with a student might be harder to measure, or you don't know what that relationship is building, though you can't really take a picture of the significant impact that someone had with a person they share the gospel with, you may not see how that one conversation leads to fruit in future years. We know that our investment in the lives of other people is far worth it. Far worth it. Though they don't produce immediate results, relationships are where people can experience the love of Jesus. So, though we go to love people, serve people, we also go for another reason. As much as I want to build up and encourage the missionaries who are there, though I want to serve and love the people whom we're ministering to, the reality is we don't send only for that purpose. We also send for those who are going. We send for them to be grown, for them to be challenged, for them to realize how God has provided for them, supported them. This is one of the reasons why we're so passionate about support raising, is that we want the people who go on these projects to see how God has provided for them through the system that He established, the body of Christ. And so together, we get to then send and invest in the people that are going out to these places. We get to see how God not only works in them, but then through them and impacts eternities. It's pretty remarkable that they get to encounter other cultures, to see the global church firsthand. So that's why this morning I thought I'd bring them to share with you what they did, but also what God did in them. And so I'd like to bring up first the team that went to Utah. Some of you may remember years and years ago a guy named Jared Hunsinger. Jared Hunsinger, what did he do here? Was he a pastor, an intern? Nothing? Just a student. He was what? He grew up here. Oh, I had no idea. He grew up here. Does anybody remember Jared Hunsinger? Isn't he like your best friend? Yeah. So he's now a lead pastor in Salt Lake City at a church there. And we thought, you know what? Let's put on an introductory mission project. A lot of people haven't gone on missions before. A lot of people don't know what to expect on missions. So before we take them all the way to another country, let's just take them next door and go to one of our sister churches. So we are part of the Central Pacific District. So we are Utah, Northern California, Nevada, Hawaii, and Guam. That is what we are responsible for within our district. That's our region. And so we thought, let's stay within the district and go to Jared's church and serve there. So guys, would you share a little bit about what you did and what the experience was like?
Honestly, the experience was life-changing. There's nothing like seeing the work of God play out in your life after years and years of praying, just like, God, use me in any way that you want. And then, you know, the next week or the next month, God's like, I'm going to send you on a missions project. It's really a blessing to be standing here and to talk to you guys about something that I didn't even think I was going to be doing ever in my life. It's really, really a life-changing experience.
Awesome. What was it like? Colin, can you share, like, what did you do? Like, what was your ministry while you were there? What did a day look like?
Yeah. So we were there for about 10 days, and the first week, Monday, we were just setting up for a VBS. So Tuesday through Friday, every evening, we would run this VBS for the kids. A very, very small percentage of evangelical Christian to Mormon, like the ratio. Mm-hmm. So being able to help out these Christian families, just watching after the kids, maybe some non-Christian families send their kids, it was a pretty great opportunity. And then throughout the rest of the day, the morning, the midday, we would go out into the Mormon community and talk to all these Mormon people, get to know what they're really all about, maybe plant some seeds, get them to really dig into their own faith and maybe learn eventually that they've been being misled. They find the true gospel.
Yeah, I think one of the things you said to me before was you were trying to force them to think critically.
Yeah.
I love that. That's money. That's good. Was there, Sloan, a particular moment, child, impact during the project that's going to stick with you for a while?
Yeah, so during the VBS, I was mostly behind the scenes, so cooking dinner, cleaning up after the balloons and everything. But the one time I was able to sit through the sermon, or the teaching, whatever, the thing that Jamin was doing, I was able to actually be with the kids and see what was actually happening. And I remember having to leave because I was just crying uncontrollably. Because these kids, who most of them were not Christian, like a quarter of them were Mormon, and then the rest of them, I don't think that they went to any kind of church. But I was crying because every single one of them was screaming at the top of their lungs that Jesus loved them and that he knew them and that he cared about them. And hearing little kids, the oldest was, I think, how old, 10? Yeah. So the oldest was 10 and the youngest was about 4. And just hearing these kids scream to the top of their lungs that Jesus loved them was honestly life-changing.
I love that. And we were just talking about how we go to have those experiences, to love them, to serve them, to help them think critically, right? But what about internally for you guys? Colin, can you share something maybe that stretched you, that God revealed to you, something that was standing
totally.
out?
I was really stretched physically, just like the amount of work we were doing setting up for this whole thing. A lot of walking on this trip. But I mean, I guess that's not unique to us. And mentally too, I was not prepared for how difficult some of these discussions would be with the Mormon people. They know their stuff. So thankfully, we were taught by Jared and some other awesome people in Utah who knew a lot about this religion, giving us a lot of insight in like really where they're coming from, like all the ideas that they've been sharing and held within their community. So that helped. But God definitely stepped up. I would not have been able to defend my ideas without his help against this kind of people. So that was pretty awesome to see.
Sweet. So you're back, obviously. We're here. We're present. This isn't a hologram. What are you processing now? Sloan, now that you're back, did that project shift anything in your mind, or is it same old, same old? Where are you at?
So it's honestly really, really changed my faith walk. Just being there for 10 days, only solely dependent on Christ, was life-changing. Now I'm in my word more often. My prayer walk is it's just unbelievable. The change that you have after you lay down your life and put your wants aside and you decide to help other people because you purely want to, it's just overflowing. It's something that just comes out of you by the grace of God. It's just like you cannot do anything other than help other people. And now, like, doing that firsthand and going somewhere and staying in a church and sleeping in classrooms on air mattresses, like, it doesn't sound fun until you're actually there and you're like, I was not expecting it to be this fun.
It's an age thing. At certain ages, it's not as fun anymore. I'm just saying. One of our projects, we were sleeping on chairs, sleeping on a floor. It was at a certain age. Not my age. I was thinking like Brian's age, Phil's age, but yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you. Thank you for sharing about Utah. You see a couple pictures behind me here. This is so far away. This is just right next door in the parking lot. As they were prepping to go, that was the team that went off. You'll see pictures of the temple that they went and got a tour of. You'll see some of the guys sharing about LDS life, Mormonism. So that's some of the pictures that were going on in the background. But now we have Sarah and Lulu, who were some of the representatives that went on our Spain mission project. One of the things that's amazing about the Christian Missionary Alliance is that we are everywhere. We're in 88 countries around the world with 6 million believers and IWs, international workers, everywhere. And so you can go to Spain, and there will be a team there that are serving the local people and loving them. So could you share a little bit about the project with us, Lulu? Help us understand where in Spain were you? What were you guys doing? What did a typical day look like?
So we were in a small town called Tres Cantos. It's like right outside of Madrid. So we got to meet up with a lot of missionaries, especially on Sunday at church, and hearing their stories was amazing. But we especially worked with Jessica, who ran the camp that we were at, and with Carol, who got to cook all the food. So that was amazing. And our typical day was getting up early in the morning, going to the church and setting up for camp, and then just meeting with the kids and just being with them. And then ending up splitting into groups where we played games, did crafts, and got to just be with them and bond with them. But then we also got to do a value of the day where the theme and tell Bible stories, and they don't get to hear that very often, so it was really cool to see that.
Nice. So Sarah, your particular role, what did you do on the project? Was this your first project overseas?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so what was that like for you? What was your role? How'd it go?
Yeah, so like Lulu said, we had themes of the day that connected to different Bible stories and verses. And so we had activities that we put together to kind of help them engage with that particular theme or Bible verse. And the way we split up our team was that some of our leaders were station leaders, and they would stay at a particular place and lead a craft or activity. And the rest of us were age group leaders, so we would stick with a particular age group. My particular role was a leader for the 7 to 9-year-old students. And I really appreciated being a age group leader because it allowed me to really connect with my students throughout the week and really get to know them, which is what I really spent the most of my time doing, was asking them questions about themselves and just spending time with them.
And how was that? Were there any relationships that you feel like you were able to kind of dig in a little deeper with, connect well with? Can you share about that?
Yeah, I connected particularly well with 2 sisters that were in my age group, Emma and Laura. After our first value presentation on the first day of camp, I had a really great conversation with them. It got a little chaotic during that time because we had all the age groups together and some of the kids were running around. But it felt like the Lord just supernaturally gave me their attention for 10, 15 minutes, and I got to share the gospel with them. And they were very curious about how God could love people who are disappointing. And I got to share that my hope was not in people, but my hope was in Jesus' goodness. And I trust that his goodness is able to save me, not my own.
Awesome.
So that was a really neat
That's
opportunity.
cool.
Yeah.
Lulu, can you give us a little look at what Spain is like, the culture, the area? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's very cool because we tend to greet each other with a hi, how are you? But we're just like, oh, good, and then pass by. They want to know. They don't care about that. They're like, I want to know how you're doing. And that was something that was different, but I really, really loved because we didn't spend a ton of time with the adults in Spain. We more were just with the kids. And so even from a young age, the little kids, they just wanted to bond. And I love that. And I was a little scared because I wasn't great with little kids. And then I ended up with the little kids. And I loved them to pieces. They were insane. Anyone can tell you, they were crazy, but they just wanted your love and your attention, and I gave it to them, and I ended up just loving them to pieces, and that was really, really cool.
Oh, nice. So one of the things I was talking about was not only going and making an impact, but then seeing what God has been doing in you in that experience. So since you've come back, Sarah, is there anything, Lulu, that you feel like God is revealing to you, working in you, growing you in?
Yeah, I feel like this experience was very impactful for me. I've never been abroad, like I said. This was my first international experience, and I feel like before I left, my view of the church was very limited to just California or Foothills, and it was really neat to see other believers serving the same Savior in another nation, and it was really neat to see that unity. And also that God is working in the same place in another nation. It's easy to read in the Bible about God being present everywhere, but it's another to actually experience him doing work in Tres Cantos and also here.
Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I would definitely say God is not limited in any way, and he really showed that. And personally through me, I said before, didn't want to be with the littles. I actually was in my mind, on the way there, I'm not going to be with the little kids. And, it was just, I was convinced. And then when we were deciding which groups we were going to be with, stations or the kids, they were like, okay, the little kids are really, really hard. They're a big group. There are 2 of them who are on the spectrum. And it's not going to be easy. And then I was like, I'll do it. And I was like, why did I say that? And then it ended up seriously being one of the best experiences I ever had. And I really, really miss those kids. And I enjoyed it. And I would not have been able to do it without God. So
I love it. Love it. Well, thank you guys. Friends, this behind us, Life International School, is a school that is run by the Christian Missionary Alliance in Spain. So that's pretty awesome that we have that there. So funny. I was looking for you earlier. I was looking out here. I totally forgot you were to my left. So this next project is one that I'm super excited about because it was new. It was absolutely terrifying. It was potential for complete disaster, but it worked out. And so
Yeah.
what I was saying earlier is that our district, Utah, Northern California, Guam, Hawaii, Nevada, so we came to the realization, so the Central Pacific District, that and I don't know if you're aware of this, but most churches aren't like Foothills. So most churches, and I'm talking a high percentage in the 90s, are about 100 people or less. 200, I think, is like 6% or 4% of the churches in the United States. So this is rare that we have people to invest in the next generation, young adults, to be able to empower and encourage them to go do vocational ministry. So the district, we were talking, going, how are we going to impact the next generation across the district if we don't have this sort of resource? And so I developed something called the Launch Collective. And the Launch Collective is this idea that we're going to launch young people into full-time vocational ministry through intentional discipleship and mission experiences. However, even though we've been doing that here, we're going to extend it to other churches in the district. And so we invited all 120 churches, 6, because it was last minute. It was absolutely terrifying. I was planning for 2027, and the district was like, no, you're going to Hawaii next month. And I was like, what? So it was terrifying. But 6 churches ended up signing up and being a part of it. And so we had a team of about 20 that went to Waianae, Hawaii, which sounds super awesome and resort-like, but maybe not so much. So what was your experience? You're coming on vacation into Hawaii, a mission trip into Hawaii.
We won't tell them about the results.
Yeah, we just laid out on the beach for a few days. But what was it actually like?
Yeah, so when I originally heard it was Hawaii, I was like, okay, cool, I'm not going to go to that one. And then I was sitting in my dorm room, and I was just like, okay, Lord, I feel Hawaii right now. So I kind of just was like, all right, Doug, I'm going to go on this trip with you. It's going to be fun, right? Okay, Hawaii, Oahu, good things. I have friends that live there, super wealthy, all that stuff. And I was like, we'll see how this goes. And so I just decided to take all my expectations and throw them out the window, because I was like, you called me here, Lord. I'm going to just see how it goes. I trust that Doug wouldn't choose a vacation. And so so we get there, and I'm like, beautiful mountains, it's great, wonderful greeting with a lei, it was cool. And then we start driving to the place that we're going to go, and immediately, once you pass a certain point, it just changes. Like environmentally as well. The beaches are more rocky, you're unable to swim in them because you'll get killed by the waves.
It's true.
The greenery becomes brown because it's just more hot and dry on that side of the island. And then just the houses and the community itself just became more and more impoverished.
Yeah, in fact, it's one of the largest, I think it is the largest homeless encampment within the United States. There are people who've been living in it's miles of encampment for more than 20 years. They've been living there. People having birth in there, raising their children in there, then them having their children in there. It's pretty wild. And then in the last several months, I think it started at the end of February, the government came in with massive bulldozers and literally started to bulldoze it down, which then leaves these people who that's all that they knew were these tribes running literally to the hills, like going up into the hills to live. And so poverty is super, super high there. What were some of the things that we actually did? Can you share some experiences? What was sleeping like in a king-size bed at the Disney resort? What was that like?
Yeah, it was super nice. Got my own row of church chairs to sleep on, so
It was
no,
only
I actually
10 days.
I got 2 rows. So I got 2 rows pushed together for my bed, and I actually forgot it, like sleeping stuff. So I received a sleeping bag, and mind you, I'm one of the only white people plus Doug, and so I truly thought like the sleeping bag was just shorter because everyone else was really short, but it was a child's sleeping bag, so we cleared that up. Anyways, we also we partnered with people and organizations in low-impoverished communities, or low-income communities, sorry. We made slime with kids, we got to connect with parents, and then we also did a food distribution. That was a whole experience in itself. We also did some beach cleanup, and then we also got to experience other CMA churches around and get to just learn more about what their ministry is about.
Yeah, so there's 5 different Alliance churches on the island, and so on that Sunday, we shot out teams to all these various churches, Alliance churches, to worship with them and to build relationship with them. One of the big ones that you had mentioned before were the shoes. So we had a company, Foot Locker, donate 1,500 pairs of shoes. They were going to send them back to the company, and the company's like, it costs too much, just give them away. So they gave them to this local ministry, and we gave out 300 shoes to homeless children. And then once those homeless children got the shoes, then we invited their parents to come in. They could get shoes, and then we allowed the poor people to come in. So I mean, there's levels of poverty. It's crazy. I've genuinely not seen anything like that within the continental United States ever. So I've seen the tents and the poop in San Francisco. I've seen all that, but not this. This was a whole other level. Yeah, so different churches. That was terrifying. You had no idea how people were going to get along or not get along. What was that experience like? Because we didn't get together beforehand and have all these trainings in person. They were all on Zoom. And so now you show up, and you're the only white girl. What was your experience?
Yeah, I think the best way to explain it is just you walk into a room and there's just like 19 Asian people looking at you, and you're like, oh, hi, my name's Neva, nice to meet you. It was terrifying, I think. I have been growing in my social skills, and so putting myself in that place where I didn't know anyone was scary, but I knew that the Lord called me there, so I was like, what can go wrong? It was very educating. I got to experience new kinds of food. That was cool. Would not recommend pig's feet, so wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But maybe it's your thing. I don't know.
Some of the Asian food was really good, and some was pig's feet. So not so good.
Yeah, but it was amazing by the end. The first couple days I was like, oh gosh, I'm making no friends and I don't know what to do. Everyone's 5 feet tall. Like, I don't know. But then I was like, Lord, you brought me here. Please help me make some friends. And right after that, I just became so extremely close with a lot of the people there. It was amazing.
Yeah, so it wasn't just even that we were like the outsiders as the white people. They were too, because they were from various ethnicities. So you had Singaporean, you had Hong Kong, you had Malaysia, you had mainland China, you had Korea. Filipino. Yeah, they were all, I mean, you're talking about wild. We ended up calling it a social experiment. This is going to be like a reality TV show. Take all these people from different places in the world and put them together and see what happens. Yeah. It was wild. And at the end of it, I would argue it was by far the greatest mission team I've ever led. It was truly remarkable. The depth of the relationships, the ongoing relationships. We're still getting text messages in our group chat of people hanging out who didn't know each other before, like last night down at Yosemite, like they're all hanging out. You were hanging out with people over like in the Bay Area?
Yeah. Another thing that I think the leaders did really well, which was Doug and Sandy King, they had all of us share our testimonies, our full life testimonies. Every single person, there's 20 people there. That takes days, and we somehow fit it in a week. It was like 5 people a day, and we would like cut out a chunk of time, but that proved to be super important. Yeah. It was truly important.
Yeah, these weren't your say it in 2 minutes. These were 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Doug's was an hour.
Mine went a little long. Some people say that when I speak, well, anyway. So the vulnerability, the authenticity, I wish I could tell you all this stuff. I'm thinking of Jack and hit that whole, the freedom from shame. We don't have time. I would encourage you to, the things that you're getting up here are a fraction of what actually happened on each of these projects. So pull people aside, ask them questions, hear what it was actually like there, because you'll hear some remarkable stories. So anyway, Neva, thank you. Thank you for sharing a little bit about what we did over there. Appreciate it. So our last project is our main one that we've been doing for years, Croatia. You've heard a lot about this, and each year the relationships get deeper and stronger, and the impact is more incredible. And this year was, I was going to say no different. It was drastically different, and the fruit was incredible. So let's just share a little bit about what that project looked like. Could you share with people who may not know about our project, help us understand where did we serve, who are we serving, what did our days look like?
Yeah, so we did an English camp for about a week at the House of Hope, and I taught the advanced English class with Camden. And so our days looked like starting off with English, and then activities throughout the day. We went bowling, we went to a ton of different places, just mostly to connect with the kids and to build relationships, which was so successful. And it all happened way quicker than I thought with connecting with the kids. And yeah.
What was your role? What did you do during the week?
Mostly I taught English class. I partnered with Abby to teach the beginner's English class. When I wasn't teaching English class, I was doing the activities, bowling, laser tag, escape room, whatnot, or playing sports, or just talking with the kids, getting to know them.
Yeah. Noelle, was there anybody that you connected to a little bit more than others that you met? Can you tell us about any relationships?
Yes, so I connected with this one girl. Her name was Nastia, and she came later into the camp. So I would say like the middle of the week. And she came in totally closed off towards anything about Jesus. She said she was an atheist. She was asking why Doug had to use moral stories about Jesus, and she just didn't really want anything to do with it. And throughout the week, it was really cool to watch God change her heart, because she started to become more and more open after getting to know us and meeting everyone and just seeing how we just get to live in freedom. And I could just see that she saw hope. Yeah. And she was totally open to it towards the end. I got to share my testimony with her and just the gospel with her, and just tell her how there's so much freedom in having a relationship with the Lord. And there was just a light in her eye. She came alive, and that was incredible.
That's pretty sick. That along the same lines, there was a guy, Tobiah, and Tobiah connected really well with Camden. However, he did not come that way. When he and his sister showed up, it was a fight to get him to step away from his parents. Like, he did not want to come in the door. He didn't want to go up the steps. They were doing that thing, you know what you do with your kids, where the parent squeezes your arm really, really tight, starts to like dig the nails in, and is like yelling at you in a whisper in your ear. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, you do it too. I know you do. So she was doing that, trying to get him to come in. They fought so hard not to, but then Camden ended up connecting with him. Gavin did as well, and they stayed for a little bit. And then we couldn't get him to leave. They loved it. They wanted to be there constantly the whole week. They didn't want to miss a thing. Not only that, they went home that night and came back with friends the next day. And those friends ended up staying the whole week and got to hear the gospel. I mean, it's pretty wild. You can see on this kid's face, it's one of my favorite pictures. Look at the joy in that kid's face, who doesn't know Jesus, but is having the time of his life with these Americans from California. This was probably Just Dance or something, right? Yeah. Look at it. This is why we go, is for these relationships. Nathan, beyond the programming, the VB or the English classes, was there something this week or in this project that affected you, that really stood with you, that maybe wasn't expected in the normal schedule, but had an impact?
Yes, there was we went out the first day to the park with football, just going to see if we can meet some kids. We did. They were not what we were expecting. We were expecting people our age. They were tiny little boys from about 10 to 12. Totally not planned at all. We ended up playing sports with them, and it was a great time.
Yeah, that was another one. Once that connection, there's one of the kids, once that connection was made, they wouldn't stay away. In fact, there should be a picture of them coming into the building. They were too young for the camp, but look, they're like, please come here, like, come play with us. Every day, all night, these kids were at our door. In fact, we don't have time. Dang it. Trevor was invited. Trevor, put your hands up. He loves public attention. Look at Trevor. Trevor was invited by this gang of hoodlums to go into the neighborhood, and was even taken to people's homes and invited into their homes to like eat with them. And then they took him all the way to their fort, like their special place. They invited Trevor to come in, and so many stories I'd love to share. We just don't have the time. But can you share maybe, since we were really tired on the way there, we talked about not only the impact that we're making in these people's lives, and it was wild. Somebody gave their life to Jesus, Nastia's relationship with you and her openness, and Tobiah, and all. But what about you? Like, are there things that God has been doing in you since coming back that you got out of this project?
I would say he really, really revealed to me, number one, his love for us, his pure and genuine love for us. And number two, I would say how much of a need there is to go, and he showed me how much of a lack of community that those people have, and how much they need that, and they need the people to actually go and to disciple them. And so to be able to see that was life-changing and heartbreaking, because they don't have that. And I would say that was one of the most impactful things.
Okay. What about you, Nathan?
Through the trip, I just got to see how much God's plan really works. There's times in my life where I'm like, is this really the best, Lord? And it is. You follow his plan. He has the best plan. It will work out, and things will be great.
I have so many things to say about all of you that went on the project. But a couple things. One, Nathan blew my mind. I was so impressed with this young man. He is not necessarily the front of house, stand on the stage type guy. But on the first day, he was like, yeah, I'm going to have to step out a little bit. And he did. And it was incredible. Like, I was super impressed. So that is awesome to see you kind of yielding and cooperating with what God wants to do in you and stretching you, which is awesome. Noel talked about relationship. Unfortunately, less than 0.5% of Croatia knows Jesus. And so there is a great need. And the church is only about 15 people. And all these students that we make inroads with, we design this project specifically for long-term relationship. They don't have anybody to do follow-up after we leave. And so part of our project, one of my roles there, was to try to find those people, invest in them so that they could continue the ministry while we're gone. But the need is great. And I haven't really talked to these guys since we've been back, because we haven't been back long. But they both left saying they are seriously interested in moving to Croatia in the spring and staying there for an internship period to continue the work that we've been doing there for the last few years. So that's super awesome. So I look forward to hearing what God does. Thanks, guys. I'm telling you, there's a lot more. We could spend hours talking about all these different projects. If you prayed for them, if you supported them financially, if you gave them words of encouragement, if you followed their stories, please go talk to them. Hear what the trip was like. Hear what they experienced. Hear what God did. We were able to tell you minute details about relationships. But I hope you're seeing it. I really hope you see it. It's great to go lay down a concrete slab somewhere. That's wonderful, and people need to do those things. We need wells. People need to go dig wells. Our mission at Foothills is not that. Our mission is eternal transformation through relationships, modeling what Jesus did by coming here and then sending us. And Paul hammers this in Romans 10. He says, how are they going to know? How are they going to know? How are they going to accept Jesus if nobody tells them about Jesus? How are people going to go tell them about Jesus if nobody sends them to tell them about Jesus? And how are they going to be sent if nobody preaches to them and sends them? And he says, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring the good news. Friends, you got really pretty feet. Thank you For all of you in the room that went on the project that weren't on stage, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for giving up your summers. Thank you for giving up time with your friends, time on family vacations. Thank you for the sacrifice of all the work you had to do to train, to prepare, to raise support, to work your butt off to make money to be able to pay for the. Thank you for that investment. You are a great example for all of us. Friends, this isn't a spectator sport. We're all involved. We're participants in the mission of God. He said, go and make. Those are the two things we got to do. So, you may not physically be able to go, but you can send. And so I'd highly encourage you to be involved in the missions here at Foothills Church. This missions couple in Croatia has been asking for a couple of years for us to send a small team of 4 or 5 adults at Christmas, 2 weeks in the beginning of December, to put on a Christmas market to reach all the communist housing right next to this little house. If you want to go bake bread, make some Christmas ornaments, they need the help. They need some men to help set up some of the tables for that fair. Go. Let me know. We'll put a team together. We'll send you over there. But there's a lot of ministry opportunity. This year, 4 teams. That's incredible. So how are they going to know unless you tell them? And how are you going to tell them? Because right now, I'm sending you. Go. Make. Father, that you have made it so clear to us that we are to be your witnesses, to be your martus, to be your martyrs, to be people who lay down our lives for the sake of others. That we would be people who not only share the gospel, but share our lives. That we would be people who invest in others, not only in our neighborhoods, but in the nations. That we would be your tangible feet, that we'd be your tangible hands, your tangible voice. I am so grateful that you empowered these teams to go and to live on trust, in faith, confident in who you are, confident in how you are going to use them. God, I pray that you continue to transform them, continue to work in them. God, I praise you for the students who have gone on these projects and now they're coming back going, man, this may be what God has for me. Oh, would you make it so clear? And for the people in this room, Holy Spirit, would you stir? Would you stir? Would you awaken within them a passion and a burden to make you known, whether it's here, Nepal, Italy, Croatia, Denmark, wherever. God, use us. We cooperate with you, and we make ourselves available to you. All for your glory, Jesus. Amen.